communities in this area are very poor. The average income of most of the people who live in Kigoma is about $150 per year. They're so involved in trying to get an income so they can feed their families to live even just one day. And so you have to work with the communities to meet their day-to-day needs so that they can actually think about long-term conservation.
I think the Jane Goodall Institute really, truly understands the significance of the interconnectedness of people living around wilderness areas with the environment, with the animals, and that unless we address all of these issues together, then it's not going to work. You cannot expect very, very poor people to help in conservation efforts.
Takari, or as Jane says, Take Care, is a program that works with local communities and local people, addressing their needs as part of our conservation strategy. We work on helping them with farming practices or helping them to export products like coffee or cocoa.
It was started basically to distribute seedlings to communities and to train them on forestry practices so that they would stop going out to the forest and cutting forests, but instead have access to firewood as well as, logging materials right on their farms. Most of the communities there rely on agriculture as their main sustenance for their livelihoods. And the practices that they were using initially were not sustainable at all. They farm in one piece of land, they don't try and add value to the land. Once the productivity goes down, they shift to another piece of land. And when they shift, they burn all the resources, they cut down the trees, and they start farming again. And so once JGI noticed that this was a trend that was happening in the community, they started going out to the communities and talking to them about other more sustainable agricultural practices that they could engage in.
Zao hili la michikichi lina faida nyingi sana. Faida ya kwanza ni kupata mafuta ya mawese na pia kupata mafuta ya mise.
Being able to have an impact on oil palm farming is huge for JGI. And so what JGI did is that it studied the practices in terms of the oil palm species that was being used in the area and came up with a hybrid that provides about 4 times more the oil palm than the older variety that they were using. And the ultimate result of this is that the communities wouldn't have to go out and cut more trees so that they could plant oil palm in order to yield more incomes. One of the key things that's important, for people to be able to protect the forests, if they have beehives in those forests, which means that they're able to collect honey and they're able to sell honey, the incidence of them protecting that forest is much higher because there's an economic value that's now being associated with that forest. And so promotion of beekeeping, training on beekeeping, providing or at least training people on how to make sustainable beehives has also been a focus on the Takare program.
The local people are now delighted. They're getting great prices. Their kids are able to go to school. Their homes are improved. Their whole livelihoods are improved. And so they've become our partners in putting aside part of their land for corridors to enable the chimps to range more widely into other forests.